The intricate dance between the sexes, a subject that has long captivated scientists, weaves a tale as old as time itself. Picture this, from the hallowed, echo-laden halls of ancient academies, where philosophers ponder the mysteries of human connection, to the sleek, cutting-edge laboratories at the University of Cambridge, this eternal enigma has been slowly unfurling its secrets. Here, equipped with the groundbreaking technology of functional magnetic resonance imaging, scientists are poised at the brink of astonishing discoveries. In the early throes of romance, when hearts flutter and the world seems aglow, a fascinating neurological ballet takes center stage within our brains. Picture these moments, two individuals, perhaps sharing a glance across a crowded room, their brains igniting in a symphony of activity akin to the effects of nicotine or opioids. This cascade of dopamine and norepinephrine, those feel-good chemicals, isn't just a fleeting rush of pleasure. Nature, in its infinite wisdom, might be using this neuronal hijacking as a clever strategy to promote reproduction. But this chemical euphoria does more than just make us feel good. It sets a stage where moments as transient as the glint of an emerald can determine the fate of future relationships. It's within these crucial junctures that experts in nonverbal communication find their spotlight. They've dedicated their careers to unraveling the enigmatic cues hidden in our everyday interactions. Before even a single word is exchanged, our bodies might have already whispered secrets of desire or indifference. This is the silent language of love, the unspoken dialogue written in the subtle play of eyes, the dilation of pupils, the unintentional orientation of feet, and the accidental, yet telling, brushing of arms. These gestures compose the chapters of a universal manual on human courtship. To the observant, these signs are as glaring as the midday sun. The person who masters the art of reading these cues wields a key to unlock the heart's deepest chambers. Enter the enigmatic and charismatic figure of Kid Berry, a master illusionist renowned for his expertise in nonverbal communication and the arcane art of cold reading. His reputation precedes him as he steps into the light, ready to share the hidden tactics of successful flirtation. Imagine being able to guide the heart's choices subtly, using an arsenal of mental tricks and psychological insights, refined and honed through years of practice and observation. This video report, rich with a blend of scientific studies and riveting real-life examples, draws back the veil on the theater of seduction. Among the arsenal of techniques, eye contact emerges as a pivotal tool in the art of attraction. When two people lock gazes, a complex cascade of neurobiological reactions unfolds, laying the groundwork for emotional and sexual connectivity. Delve deeper into this subject, and you'll find a myriad of studies that support this theory. One such study, published in the Journal of Research and Personality, closely observed interactions between strangers during speed dating sessions. The findings were illuminating. The greater the mutual eye contact, the stronger the flicker of attraction. Another intriguing experiment, conducted at George Mason University, explored the contrasting effects of direct gaze versus averted eyes. The results were fascinating. Different brain areas, linked to emotional stimulation and empathy, sparked into life when someone held our gaze. The significance of eye contact isn't a new revelation. A classic study by psychologist S. Rubin in 1965 already identified a direct link between the duration of mutual gaze and the intensity of romantic feelings. But what is it about eye contact that triggers such profound reactions? When the object of our affection meets our gaze, it activates the brain's dopaminergic circuits, the same pathways that light up in response to food, drugs, or money. This interaction goes beyond mere biology. It's a dance of psychological and physiological arousal, evident in the increased heart rate, blood pressure, and skin conductance observed in these moments. However, the story of eye contact doesn't end with biology. It's deeply rooted in culture, woven into the fabric of social norms and expectations. A cross-cultural analysis reveals a diverse tapestry of norms surrounding eye contact among various ethnic groups, including Latin Americans, Arabs, and Anglo-Saxons. This diversity paints a complex picture of a behavior that is both universal and uniquely shaped by cultural nuances. So, what does this intricate tapestry of biology, psychology, and culture mean for the art of attraction? The secret might lie in the mastery of eye contact, engaging frequently, yet genuinely, while being acutely aware of the cultural context. As we progress to the next scenes, we will continue to unravel the myriad secrets of this dance, each step meticulously backed by scientific evidence, each movement a testament to the intricate artistry of human interaction. Those reciprocal glances, the subtle yet potent exchanges of eye contact, create a connection that is nearly impossible to ignore. It's more than just a fleeting moment. It's a profound psychological and neural dance that underpins the importance of eye contact in kindling chemistry and romance between a man and a woman. This isn't merely anecdotal, it's grounded in a bedrock of scientific evidence. Consider the intricacies of this attraction mechanism. The art of eye contact, far from being a simple gaze, is a complex interplay of nonverbal cues and signals. When a woman alternates her gaze in a triangle between the eyes and mouth of the man she's interacting with, it's not just a look. It's a silent confession of attraction, potentially even a desire to kiss. This is the fascinating world of gaze triangulation. Psychologists have long been intrigued by the characteristic pattern of gaze adopted when one assesses someone of the opposite sex as attractive. It involves a subtle yet telling movement along the lines of an imaginary triangle from the eyes down to the mouth and lips, then back up to the eyes, repeating this cycle. This pattern, known as gaze triangulation, has been documented in countless studies as a nonverbal indicator of erotic and sexual interest. Take, for instance, the groundbreaking research conducted in 2017 by scientists at the University of Saskatchewan. They tracked the eye movements of 133 heterosexual subjects as they viewed images of the opposite sex. Those who rated the faces as highly attractive engaged significantly more in this triangular gaze pattern, a clear indicator of their interest. Another compelling study at Dandy University in Scotland employed eye-tracking technology to monitor the gazes of volunteers engaged in conversation with an actor of the opposite sex. Remarkably, the triangulation of gazes predicted with 75% accuracy whether the person would later express romantic interest in their conversation partner. Adding to this, a team from Boston University meticulously examined photographic records of eye movements during 190 speed dating interactions. Their findings were unequivocal. When both individuals engaged in gaze triangulation, they were far more likely to want to see each other again and potentially start a relationship. But why does this happen? Why does the triangular gaze hold such power in the game of flirtation and courtship? Several hypotheses, supported by evolutionary psychology and biology, offer explanations. The eyes and mouth are extraordinarily expressive areas, rich with social and sexual information crucial for courtship. The eyes can convey interest and intimacy, while the mouth can signal openness to intimate contact. Alternating focus between these areas allows for a comprehensive evaluation of a potential partner's viability and interest in a close relationship. This visual journey through the imaginary triangle serves a dual purpose. It aids in interpreting the facial signals of the other and subtly communicates one's own romantic intentions. From an anatomical standpoint, this pattern of visual exploration follows the natural flow of light that enters through the eyes and is reflected on the mouth. As human beings, we are instinctively drawn to moving light sources, attracting our visual attention almost reflexively. Given all this, the aesthetic and flirtatious recommendation is clear. When you notice that the woman you're conversing with begins to alternate her gaze over your face, moving between your eyes, lips, and back to your eyes, take it as a strong indicator of her attraction and interest. Do not hesitate to reciprocate this interest, and be prepared to take the next step, transforming that visual connection into a deeper, more intimate interaction. Moving on to the concept of the smile, an equally powerful but often misunderstood element of nonverbal communication. Studies reveal that a woman's smile, when not accompanied by eyebrow movement, might not be genuine, potentially masking sadness or worry. However, this shouldn't be a deterrent. Instead, it presents an opportunity for the man to strengthen their connection by empathetically delving into what's behind that smile. To understand the complex psychophysiology of a genuine human smile, researchers from the Polytechnic University of Catalonia undertook an innovative approach. Using electrodes to examine the spontaneous muscle activity involved in smiling in response to humorous stimuli, they discovered key differences. A genuine smile involves the simultaneous contraction of both the zygomaticus major muscle, which stretches the mouth, and the orbicularis oculi muscle, responsible for creating wrinkles at the sides of the eyes. When we laugh sincerely, not only do these muscles engage in harmony, but our bodies also release hormones like endorphins and serotonin, associated with pleasure and well-being. This was corroborated by a study from Tohoku University, which measured neurochemical fluctuations while participants watched comedies. True laughter was linked to elevated levels of these neurotransmitters, underscoring the deep connection between our physical expressions and emotional states. This exploration into the subtleties of nonverbal communication, from the triangulation of gaze to the nuances of a smile, reveals the complex tapestry of signals we unconsciously send and receive in the dance of human interaction. Understanding and interpreting these cues can be the key to unlocking the mysteries of attraction and connection. On the other hand, let's delve into the fascinating world of smile research. Northwestern University led an innovative study using brain scans to differentiate real smiles from false ones. The findings were revelatory. Genuine smiles activated brain areas associated with emotional sensitivity, such as the insula and the amygdala. In contrast, fake smiles showed reduced activity in these regions but increased activation in the sensory-motor neocortex. This neurological distinction provides a key to distinguishing a heartfelt smile from a forced one. Furthering this exploration, an international study involving several universities analyzed photos of athletes at the Olympic Games moments before and after competing for a medal. The researchers noted a crucial detail: pre-competition, the athletes often displayed smiles that were limited to their mouths, devoid of any engagement of the eyebrows or skin around the eyes, telltale signs of nervous, false smiles. However, post-victory, their smiles were genuine, involving the eyes, a clear indication of true happiness. This facial distinction has been further explored in experimental settings. French scientists trained a computer algorithm to detect facial muscle microgestures in 180 volunteers, distinguishing between false and true smiles. Impressively, the program successfully identified the authenticity of the smile in 87% of the cases, based on the orbicularis oculi muscle's activity. The implications of these findings are significant in social and romantic contexts. A Canadian study examining speed dating interactions observed the authenticity of women's smiles. It was found that smiles involving both the mouth and eyes predicted future interest in the partner in 71% of the cases. Returning to the theme of this text about romantic pursuit, when you notice that the attractive lady you are conversing with offers a smile that involves only her lips, without eyebrow movement or a sparkle in her eyes, it suggests she might not be as happy as she appears. This doesn't necessarily mean she's disinterested. She might be hiding other emotions or thoughts behind that facial expression. Here's where you can make a meaningful connection. Psychosexologist Brodsky recommends delicately inquiring about her well-being with empathetic questions like, "Are you okay?" or "Is there something I can help with?" According to Brodsky's follow-up study of 567 couples, this approach is effective 65% of the time, creating an opportunity for the woman to open up and forge a deeper connection. Now, let's shift our focus to the often overlooked yet revealing body language of the feet during courtship. The University of California conducted a study using machine learning software to analyze speed dating photos. They trained an algorithm to predict chemistry based on body language. Out of 150 indicators extracted, the orientation of the feet emerged as the third most powerful predictor of compatibility and mutual interest. A classic experiment by psychologist Ernest Joy examined initial interactions between strangers of the opposite sex. By digitally manipulating photos to alter the orientation of their feet, Joy discovered that this simple variation significantly changed external observers' perceptions of attraction or rejection within each couple. Specifically, feet oriented directly towards another person were perceived as a sign of courtship and interest in 87% of the cases. In contrast, feet pointing slightly away denoted shyness, while feet turning drastically in another direction were associated with boredom, anxiety, or a desire to escape. This phenomenon is explained by the polyvagal theory, which suggests that our bodies adopt postures of self-protection and readiness for flight or fight in challenging social contexts. Feet facing directly towards a romantic interest indicate that initial evolutionary anxiety has been overcome, signaling attraction and a willingness to get emotionally closer to the other person. In essence, the direction of our feet can reveal our innermost feelings and intentions, offering a silent yet powerful communication tool in the dance of human courtship. Nonverbal communication experts Alan and Barbara Pess provide further insight into the complex dance of human courtship through their extensive observational study of mating rituals in singles bars. Their research highlights the subtle yet significant role of foot orientation in signaling romantic interest. When both members of a couple orient their feet towards each other, it often preludes positive outcomes such as the exchange of telephone numbers or even goodbye kisses. Conversely, a gradual deviation of the feet typically foreshadows one party's imminent departure. In a meticulous follow-up study, the Pecks observed that couples whose members maintained their feet aligned with each other for a majority of their interaction were significantly more likely to pursue a second encounter. Specifically, if this alignment persisted for over 62% of the total duration of the date, the likelihood of a subsequent meeting soared to 87%. This finding underscores the adage, "The foot doesn't lie." It can be a remarkably accurate predictor of who will win the other's heart. Therefore, in the delicate game of flirting and romantic seduction, it's beneficial to subtly monitor not only the direction of the other person's feet, but also the orientation of your own. If both are aligned towards each other, it's a strong indicator of mutual interest and promising chemistry, encouraging deeper interaction. However, caution is advised. If there's a gradual shift in body orientation, with hips and feet beginning to point away, it may be prudent to adjust your approach or consider a graceful retreat. Like a boat charting its own course towards distant horizons, sometimes it's best to acknowledge that there are many more opportunities out there. Shifting focus to the gaze test within the courtship ritual, we find that the nonverbal game of glances, facial gestures, and body postures plays a pivotal role in determining mutual attraction. Studies have shown that before any words are exchanged, subtle visual signals can significantly predict the likelihood of a conversation. Researchers from the University of California analyzed extensive footage from various social settings to understand patterns of eye contact preceding conversations. They found that in a vast majority of cases where fluid dialogue and number exchanges occurred, there had been a period of mutual evaluation through furtive glances. Typically, one party, often the man, would hold the gaze of the other, usually the woman, for a significant duration, often leading to positive outcomes if the woman responded with quick eyebrow movements or facial blinks. These visual cues tap into an innate mechanism of our brains for navigating social interactions. When we encounter someone new, our neural circuitry rapidly assesses attraction and decides on approachability. This was demonstrated by a study at University College London, where volunteers' brain activity was monitored while viewing faces of strangers. The brain's response to attractive faces, particularly in areas linked to movement preparation like the striatum, suggests why the exchange of glances serves as an effective barometer of interest and willingness to interact. Holding a gaze and observing the other person's response, such as blinking, smiling, or eyebrow raising, can be a green light to initiate conversation. This indicates mutual interest and sends an unconscious social signal to close the distance. Further studies, including those simulating romantic encounters, corroborate this phenomenon. For instance, psychologists at the University of Edinburgh found that volunteers felt more confident and eager to engage in face-to-face conversations after observing micro-expressions like eyebrow blinking in digital female figures, even though these were just computer avatars. Thanks to these scientific insights into human mating rituals, individuals seeking romantic connections now have a powerful diagnostic tool. Understanding and interpreting these nonverbal cues can significantly enhance one's approach in the intricate pursuit of romantic interest, providing a strategic advantage in the nuanced world of dating and attraction. On the other side of the room, the art of engaging in the gaze dance takes a strategic turn. The following approach is recommended. First, position yourself within the peripheral vision of the woman you're interested in. This subtle placement allows her to become aware of your presence without direct confrontation. After a few minutes, turn to look at her and attempt to briefly capture her gaze. Initially, she may look away, perhaps out of decorum or shyness, but persistence is key. On subsequent attempts, if you notice that she no longer evades your gaze but instead holds it for a moment, it signifies a pivotal shift in the dynamics of nonverbal communication. The gaze is a powerful tool, often referred to as the window to the soul, and this concept was scientifically explored by a team of neuroscientists from the University of Purdue. In their study involving 117 subjects participating in speed dating, they employed eye-tracking technology and infrared cameras to amplify minute changes in pupil size. They meticulously recorded the participants' eyes before, during, and after each interaction. A fascinating pattern emerged. When one of the singles mentioned something of personal significance, like the name of a childhood pet, the other's pupil would suddenly expand by 20 to 30% for a few seconds before returning to normal. This phenomenon coincided with an increase in heart rate. Interestingly, involuntary pupil dilation was also observed in response to certain captivating body movements of the other participant, such as tucking hair behind the ear or resting a hand on the chin in an attentive pose. These gestures were identified as highly sensual and captivating, effectively enlarging the windows of the soul with wonder and pleasure. This microscopic yet measurable change in pupil diameter is attributed to the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, triggered by surprise, attraction, or interest. As explained by evolutionary psychologist David Perrott from the University of St. Andrews, when we encounter something particularly stimulating, dopamine is released. Concurrently, the action of norepinephrine, which usually keeps the pupils constricted, is momentarily inhibited. This response, entirely outside our conscious control, is an instinctive reaction honed over millions of years of mammalian evolution, designed to expand our visual and attentional capacity when something significant appears in our environment, be it food, predators, or potential mates. The measurement of pupil diameter is thus being explored as a reliable method to detect those fleeting moments during human interactions where sparks of interest and deep emotional connection are kindled. For singles seeking to gauge interest during an interaction, paying attention to the size of the other person's pupils can be revealing. If, while sharing personal anecdotes or making physical contact, you observe their pupils expanding significantly, it's a strong indicator of emotional resonance and attraction. This subtle yet profound physiological response can signal that your presence and words have stirred something deeper, potentially laying the groundwork for a meaningful connection. On the contrary, not observing any change in pupil size during an interaction may suggest that the chemistry isn't yet sparking, and your conversation hasn't activated their reward or romantic systems. However, this shouldn't lead to discouragement. Instead, it's an opportunity to refine your approach and continue engaging. Simultaneously, monitoring your own pupils in response to their gestures can be equally telling. It's a mutual dance of silent communication, revealing who is truly capturing the heart of whom. By paying close attention to the subtle language of the eyes during a romantic encounter, you can employ this passive interest detector as a novel strategy, thereby enhancing your chances of success in love. These signs, rooted in our physiological responses, do not lie. As the English poet Thomas Gray aptly put it, the eyes are eloquent. Learning to read their language allows you to decipher the desires and fears of others. By applying the principles of nonverbal psychological science to the delicate art of courtship, you can navigate the complex world of romantic interactions with greater confidence. So, emboldened young lover, fearlessly observe those lighthouses of the soul that will guide you to the safe harbor of happiness and connection. Further exploring the realm of nonverbal cues, consider the act of gently rubbing arms. This is a potent neurosensory strategy to intensify romantic feelings during a positively progressing date. An interdisciplinary team of Italian biologists and psychologists conducted an experiment where they monitored the physiological responses of 70 single couples during speed dating sessions using biofeedback bracelets. These devices measured heart rate, skin temperature, electrical conductivity, and blood pressure while the participants conversed side by side. Approximately 15 minutes into the interaction, a subtle cue prompted the participants to reduce the distance between their arms until they gently touched. This slight contact resulted in a marked increase in sympathetic nervous system activity, heart rates, skin temperature, blood flow, respiratory rates, and the release of oxytocin and vasopressin hormones associated with social bonding all surged. This heightened stimulation and interest during arm-to-arm contact can be attributed to the arm's high concentrations of sensory nerve receptors, sensitive to even the lightest touch. The brain interprets this stimulation as an environmental signal of mating availability and interest. From an anthropological perspective, Dr. John Halbert speculates that the act of hugging and stroking arms evolved as an adaptive social behavior among our ancestors. This behavior likely served to enhance reciprocal affection and strengthen the bonds of early courtship, which were crucial for ensuring reproduction and the shared nurturing of offspring. Transpersonal psychology studies also suggest that arm-to-arm contact fosters feelings of protection, belonging, and mutual understanding. In her research, Dr. Paula Mayers interviewed 89 volunteers following dates where subtle arm contact occurred. Participants consistently reported greater feelings of well-being, closeness, and optimism about their future with their partner when this contact was present. Thus, the tactile elements of interaction, like gentle arm touches, hold a profound impact, often surpassing mere visual or auditory communication. This might explain why, in many cultures, offering one's arm is a significant gesture, symbolizing trust, care, and a readiness to connect more deeply. Such physical interactions, when welcomed and reciprocated, can be a powerful tool in the art of romance, paving the way for more profound emotional connections and deeper mutual understanding. Respectfully accompanying someone with an arm gesture is a timeless act in the dance of courtship. When aiming to communicate romantic interest, it's essential to harness the powerful sensory channel of the arms with respect and gradualism. If the date is going well, subtly reducing the space between your bodies until the proximity causes a mutual bristle of each other's arms can be profoundly impactful. This gentle connection of the souls precedes the physical union, forming an ideal sequence in the prelude to love. This subtle caress of the limbs sets the stage for a deeper meeting of minds and hearts. As the date progresses, allow your arms to express more openly and without tension. The gentle touch of skin, trembling in anticipation of the connection, can convey truths that words may not capture but the soul in every pore already understand. The act of straightening a gentleman's tie is a distinctive gesture, often indicative of attraction, as it involves entering his intimate space and subtly altering his appearance to enhance attractiveness. This interaction can be traced back to evolutionary psychology, where scientists have studied the function of certain adornments and adjustments in male attire during flirtation and courtship. Evolutionary anthropologist Jeffrey Miller posits that elements like ties, handkerchiefs, and pocket squares may have evolved as signals allowing the female, who typically invests more biologically in offspring, to quickly evaluate the suitor's skill and resources. This is analogous to how males of other species exhibit sensorimotor skills in courtship, impressing females with nest building, dancing, or acrobatics. In our primate ancestry, features like facial hair or manes likely evolved to facilitate social grooming, enhancing couple bonding or signaling sexual receptiveness. Thus, a tie could serve a similar purpose, requiring fine motor skills and elegance that signify high-quality genetic traits. Psychologists Alan and Barbara Pays introduced the ingenious tie test to help men discern when a woman perceives them as a valuable romantic candidate. During an interaction, a gentleman might subtly displace his tie. If the woman feels chemistry and interest, she will likely straighten it, using this socially acceptable excuse to invade the gentleman's personal space and signal her romantic interest. This action triggers the sensitive nerve endings in the fingers, activating intense brain reward centers upon contact with delicate areas like the neck or torso. This induces rapid attachment and mating incentives. An Austrian team monitoring the dopaminergic response to social touch in single volunteers using PET scans found that straightening a stranger's tie activated brain nuclei related to addiction and impulse control. This suggests a strong drive to engage in this behavior, indicative of romantic interest. Therefore, in your next interaction with a distinguished woman, subtly observe her body language and comments. After a few minutes, tilt your tie slightly and watch for her reaction. If she approaches to realign it, offering a knowing smile while lightly brushing your chest, it's a clear sign of her affection. Trust in this ancestral ritual of courtship and allow the lady to groom you, echoing the display of a majestic peacock. Your gallantry and attire will likely be reciprocated with her interest and affection, reflecting the deep-rooted traditions of human courtship. The aforementioned strategy of pretending to read the fortune in a lady's hands during courtship, while it may initially seem like a clever tactic to increase physical contact and attraction, warrants a deeper ethical examination. The method, which hinges on the fore effect, a psychological phenomenon, may initially function as an effective tool in establishing a connection. However, its ethical implications cannot be ignored. The Forer effect, identified by psychologist Bertram Forer in 1948, demonstrates that people tend to accept vague, general personality descriptions as highly accurate and specific to themselves. This effect exploits our innate confirmation bias, where we are inclined to agree with statements that we believe accurately describe us, even though these statements could apply to almost anyone. This bias arises from a need for security and understanding, reinforcing our belief that the world can see and understand our unique selves. This phenomenon is precisely why many pseudosciences, such as astrology or quartz therapy, can seem convincing. They make general statements that resonate with a wide audience, giving the illusion of deep, personal insight. In the context of courtship, utilizing the Forer effect can involve engaging in a playful, seemingly innocuous act of palm reading. The gentleman might take the lady's hands, gently caress them, and provide vague yet flattering personality insights. This physical contact, while appearing to be part of the palm reading process, activates tactile receptors, potentially releasing hormones like oxytocin, known for fostering interpersonal bonding and well-being. The woman, associating these pleasurable sensations with the interaction, might experience a growing sense of trust and attraction. However, the ethical considerations of this approach are significant. A study by Duke University highlights the potential aftermath of such tactics. It monitored couples who formed initial connections through this method of fake palm reading. The findings revealed that in a substantial number of cases, the women felt disappointed, upset, or manipulated upon realizing the lack of genuine divination skills. They perceived the tactic as an exploitation of their naivety for the sake of initiating physical contact. Therefore, while the initial allure of using such a technique in the preliminary stages of love may seem tempting, it's crucial to consider the long-term implications. Misleading someone, even under the guise of playful courtship, can lead to feelings of betrayal and mistrust, potentially damaging the very connection one aims to build. Authenticity and respect should be the cornerstone of any interaction, especially in the delicate dance of courtship. By fostering genuine connections based on mutual respect and sincere communication, one stands a better chance of developing a meaningful and lasting relationship.